Hi, sharks. It is Financial Sharktress Galit Sadiq, and it is once again Money Monday. Happy Money Monday, everyone. Today's topic is super important and one of those things that is really near and dear to my heart. And it's something that kind of has been coming up for me the last couple of weeks. So, I am a big believer in teaching financial literacy. I'm a big believer in having it be something that is taught in schools. And I know that had we gotten this type of education when we were in school, that the world would be a very different place right now. We would have a very different outlook on life, on money, on how to handle our money. Um, you know, for me, myself, I feel like I went out of my way to learn these things. And I don't know necessarily that I would have been able to reach the level that I am at had I not had role models along the way, both of how I did not want to handle things and how I wanted to handle things. Like when I was young, there were a couple of things that really stood out for me. One was my mother and I guess my parents in general, even though I don't really credit my father with it, was not he was not really involved. But my mother really showed me the importance of saving small amounts. I know that I've shared this story before, but it's worth sharing again. So if you have heard this, awesome. If you haven't heard, and it's just a reminder, if you have not heard it, then take note. One of the things that my mother did when we were little, and so we were in this was more so that um, we could have some money to call our siblings. I was in a domestic violence situation. My older siblings had been kicked out of the house. I couldn't speak to them. I couldn't speak to my grandparents on my mom's side. And my little sister and I used to have to run to payphones when my father wasn't looking and call them and let them know that we were okay, we were still alive, we were functioning, that we were okay, for lack of a better way of saying it. But the way that we had money to do this, because there was no money for us in the house, and we did not get any money from my dad. My mom did not have any money from my dad. She was the sole breadwinner in the family, and my dad took her paycheck every week and deposited into an account, which when we ran away to the domestic violence shelter, he ended up stealing all of her money. They let him, empty the joint bank accounts, and he disappeared the money in Israel with his sister's help, which she now regrets, but it is what it is. But the way that we had money to do this, to call people, to tell them we were okay, and the way that, my mother started a bank account for me and my little sister when we were young. And we had one of those like really old school bank books where they used to stamp your balance in it. But the way that we had money to do that was in 5-cent increments. So I learned how to save from small amounts and just have them add up over time. And the way that we did this was returning bottles. So we were those people that were collecting trash, collecting bottles in parking lots in different areas, and we would go and return them for the 5 cents, and that every 5 cents would add up. And then we would have quarters to call our siblings. And we would also have money that we could put in our bank account, and we learned how to save. And it was perfectly, the way that she taught us that is that it was perfectly fine to be saving small amounts, because small amounts over time add up. And that's what I learned. Another really good role model that I had was my grandmother, who I still remember her to this day, always telling me, buy real estate. Other things, those are assets. Other things depreciate in value. You want to buy real estate. If you've got real estate, hold on to it. And we're seeing that, right, in the market. Like, real estate, it may have its ups and downs, but in general, the value of it goes up. If you can hold on to it, if you can buy it at a good price and you know that it's worth it, hold on to it, because at some point it will be worth more and you can turn it into passive income. The other great role model that I had was my sister, Karen, the oldest sister. And it's sad we don't really have a great relationship right now, but she did teach me a lot about money. She was, for lack of a better way to say it, she was kicked out of my house by my father at a really young age, and she had to struggle. And she found Susie Orman, which I do not follow everything that Susie Orman says. I am a big proponent of some things, other things not so much, but it started a conversation. And she taught me things that Susie Orman was teaching, and then introduced me to how I could, utilize those resources for myself. I mean, the first will that I ever wrote was using Susie Orman's software, So and now there are so many different financial coaches. There's so many different ways to educate your children on financial literacy that you don't have to just use one or two people. Like, you don't have to use the Dave Ramseys of the world. You don't have to use the Susie Ormans of the world, the people that preach deprivation. You can teach your kids how to have it all, just living in abundance and not depriving themselves of anything, but rather practicing delayed gratification and practicing being intentional with their money. So how it's been coming up for me lately is I have a new client, and it's something called the Micro Society, and I'm really excited about the work that they do. It's a nonprofit that creates these entire economic structures in schools. They have, it's not just economic, it's like a judicial and executive branch. It teaches kids how to start businesses. It creates a small economy inside of a school, and it's really cool. And it's super inspiring, and it's just making me want to give more of myself in teaching to children and really bringing financial literacy into the forefront in the classroom. So one of the things that I created, totally separate from obviously my client, but I created for small children the Healthy Money Workbook, and I'm going to start selling it probably on Amazon. I have not, I just finished it last week, and so I haven't yet decided how I'm going to market it. But if you are interested in it, please reach out to me and we can work something out. Or I can let you know when it does officially go on sale. But I'm super excited about it because it is teaching the basics. It is teaching young children. I geared it for, small children, kindergarten, first grade. And what we do is we go through the basics of earning money. So earning money through chores, how to come up with chores and jobs and take ownership of earning the money yourself. The other things that we go through is goals, how to set goals, what kind of goals you want, and we learn how money ties into those goals and achieving those goals. And then the final piece is budgeting through my 4 envelope method. And it's really interactive. You get to, like, the kids get to make their own money envelopes. There are actually pages in the workbook that you cut out and fold into an envelope. And then they get to decorate it. And it's something really fun. And they get to decide how much they want to put away for savings, how much they want to put away for spending money, how much they want to put away for giving, because charity is something that needs to be taught right off the bat, and making sure that those less fortunate have. And the last is investing. So you can have your children start investing for their future. And you can do that by, opening up different types of things for them, like whether it be a 529 account. Recently, I just, this is something that I'm planning for when I have a child. And that's been coming up a lot for me lately, something I would like to do with my future. But something that I'm planning on doing is actually starting a Roth IRA for my child when they're born, and putting in money over the years so that they start super young, right? I've already started the 529 account for a child, which I have not even conceived yet, right? I'm just getting married next month. But like, I want to set up my children for success. I want to set up the future generation for success. And you can. You can open up a Roth IRA account for your child right now and start putting money in it. You can start investments. You can help them when they're young create and build businesses. Hell, you can have a business yourself and have your child added on as an employee and help them build their own, build their own future. You can create these legacies for them. It just involves teaching, and it involves you being financially literate and you being financially secure. But there are so many ways to teach your child how to be responsible with money. Another thing that's coming up for me, another thing that my grandmother did was when we first left my father, right? My mother did not have good, anything, right? She didn't have good credit. My grandmother had great credit in America. She actually lives in Israel, but she's an American citizen and had great credit in America. And my grandmother put me on her account when I turned, I think, 16 or 17. I don't remember which. Turned 16 or 17. She put me on an account and got me my own credit card as a user. And what she and my mother did was they monitored my spending, right? They gave me limits. They monitored my spending. I was already working full time at the time. I started working when I was 14. But what she did was she allowed me to build my credit from a young age, and they made sure that all of my credit card bills got paid on time. And that's a big deal, right? In order to build credit, you have to be using credit. You also have to be paying it off on time. And they taught me the difference of, never allowing companies to take your money, your hard-earned money, by missing deadlines or allowing them to charge you fees. You should not be paying people to use your money, right? That's why I say to go to online banks. That's why I say to think about businesses that don't charge fees, to make sure that you're following the rules. And if not, to like, if you forget to pay and you call in and it's late, they can waive those fees, and they will. Like, you want to make sure, because those companies are using your money to make more money, right? The money that's in a bank doesn't stay in the bank. They use it. There are some that's left for reserve, and then the rest of it is used towards other stuff. Make sure that you understand all of those things so that you can teach your children. Make sure that you are not letting them use your money and charge you for the privilege of doing it. And on the other side, with credit cards, make sure that when you charge something, and they always told me this, if you charge something, you better have the money in the bank to pay it off, because otherwise you are paying more and more and more and more for that. So you want to teach, yes, NerdWallet is amazing for that. You want to teach your children to utilize all of the resources that are out there. You want to teach them how to budget, and the 4 envelope method is amazing for that, right? Because you take their actual money, you give them money for allowances, for doing chores, right? You don't want to just give children money for nothing. You want them to understand that money is earned, that it has value, because if you're just giving and giving and giving, that item loses its value. So if your child wants something, make a way for them to earn it. If that's by getting good grades, if that's by cleaning the house, if that is by doing their laundry, whatever it is, the chores that by washing the dishes, whatever the chores are that you feel will make them a whole person, make those payable, right? Make those something that they can earn, and allow them to decide what they're going to do with it. Give them the options, and then facilitate it. I'm not saying control it. I'm saying facilitate it for them, right? Teach them how to make the envelopes. Get them the healthy money workbook and show them how to set goals and how to be intentional. And then watch as they decide to separate their money, and allow that to be a teachable moment for them. Allow them to decide how much they want to use towards spending on just everyday things. Allow them to decide how much they want to save towards their big goals. Allow them to decide how much they want to put in the different investments that you're going to make for them. And then definitely allow them to decide how much that they should give to charity, and teach them, the benefits of giving to someone less fortunate than you. Another thing that was really big in my childhood, which we heard all the time, was something in the Jewish faith, which is called maser, which is giving a tenth of everything that you earn to charity, right? So you want to give 10% to charity. I know that there's another word for this because I've heard other people use it. I'm drawing a blank on it at this moment. If you do know it, or if you have any ideas on good ways to teach your kids about money and how to make them, understand the value of money, I'd love to hear it. Please comment here, either on Instagram, financial_sharktris, in my Facebook group, Righteous Revenue Fishbowl, on my page, Financial Sharktris Galit Sadiq, or on YouTube, Financial Sharktris Galit. So we have some comments. So I'm not sure who this is, but we have a Facebook user who said, my daughter invested her chore money in her business. So grateful. I am to learn from you. Thank you so much. Yes, that's amazing. I love this. So your daughter has a business, and she's using her chore money in order to build this business, which is going to allow her to have a stable life, right? We've learned so much over the years that, Facebook user is Rebecca Scott. Hey, Rebecca. So having a business and teaching a child to have a business is going to allow them not to have to rely on others for money, not to have to rely on a 9-to-5 job, which a 9-to-5 is great, right? It is. W-2 income is wonderful and it is great for a lot of things. But unfortunately, we saw very well during COVID that it is not guaranteed, right? And there is no loyalty from companies to you. You can be a loyal employee for your whole life, but if you're not cutting it, or if the business is going under, or if they just think that they want to go in a different direction, like they're not going to think twice about laying you off, especially in the big corporations, right? You are a small cog in a ginormous machine. If you have your own business, you get to determine your worth. You get to put in the money and it is stable, right? This is not to say that owning a small business is easy. It is not. There are ups and downs and it is difficult, but knowing that you can do it on your own, and then knowing that you can create business after business and side hustle after side hustle, like that is a type of confidence that will take anyone to the next level. So understand that, like, it's not necessarily that they are going to have their own business or that they're going to want to do this, but they can. And knowing that they can, understanding how it works, will make them better, more profitable, more stable members of society. And that's what you want for children. Okay, so Rebecca says she has a Melissa and Doug wooden cart of chores with praise stickers and columns for different things. That is awesome idea. Also, that they choose St. Jude Children's Hospital because they've always helped her since she was little. That's awesome. I'm glad you get. That's another great thing with children choosing charities. They get to choose what feels good to them. Allow them that, right? St. Jude has fun fundraisers for kids, helping kids too. That's awesome. But like, you want to let your child, right, have a say in their life, have autonomy, have control, showing them who they can be, what they can be, that they can choose, they can make this decision, they can understand this, because that is them knowing that they can is more than half the battle, right? I feel like as children, we've been taught that math is hard. We've been taught that girls don't know math. We've been taught all of these things, and they're so deeply ingrained within us that we don't even try. But knowing it, understanding it, teaching it, showing them that they can do it, that is important. No, because just that will make them try, will allow them to reach the next level and the next level after that. Yes, showing them that they can choose something different later if they want, because they will know the steps. Yes, they don't have, it's giving them options. It's giving them opportunities. And that's really what you want for your children. You want to teach them how to get started. Rebecca says that they started out first with making their vision boards, and that's a great idea. If anyone has any other ideas, please feel free to comment, start this discussion. That's what I'm here for. Answer questions, start a discussion. If you're interested in the Healthy Money Workbook, please reach out to me. And I cannot wait to speak to you about my next topic next week. I will see you then. Happy Money Monday. Go teach your children, love your children, and, show them that they can do it, that they can have everything that they want, create generational wealth for them, create knowledge. allow them to live their best lives. And until next week, have an amazing, amazing time. Bye, everyone.